probably the biggest injury question mark of the offseason. Is your number 43 ranked starter, Spencer Strider. We should just, if people aren't aware, the Braves have come out and said that both Strider and Ronald Acuna will not be ready at the start of the season. They even threw out the possibility that those guys aren't ready until June. At First Pitch Arizona, you and I both suggested that we were operating under the idea that Strider would have a delayed start. I am ranking Strider under the idea that he doesn't come back before June. I just think the Braves are probably under the correct assumption that they will be in the playoff hunt, and having Strider fully healthy and ready to go in the second half of the season makes more sense than rushing him back in. Strider had an internal brace surgery. We don't have a long history of pitchers coming back from internal brace surgery. So yes, as Jason Collette pointed out at First Pitch Arizona, no starting pitcher coming back from that has ever thrown more than 60 innings the following season. But again, really small sample size, don't have a lot of guys coming back from that. So we don't really know what to expect from Strider. But I think it's safe to say, expect him to miss 2 months of the season and rank accordingly. And so that's what I did. And that's, I guess, what you did, ranking him at 43.
Yeah. By the way, I'm not going to call it an internal brace surgery. I'm not going to use that acronym for obvious reasons. But with Strider, yeah, it was kind of interesting seeing everyone with the expectation that he'd be around in April or so, because he got his Tommy John surgery. I know it's not Tommy John, it is internal brace, but it's the same. It's just supposed to be a little different version of it that's supposed to be a little bit quicker. They say 12 months. I don't care until I see more consistency with this. I'm just going to say it's 14 months. So we had that understanding of June, and it seems like Atlanta's in that same way. I agree with your assessment that, yeah, they're not going to rush him back because he is a huge part of any sort of potential run for them. I will mention, we're talking about this whole thing with injuries. Oh, we can't predict injuries, all this kind of stuff. Let's say he was starting the season with Atlanta. We would still not put him above 150 expected innings. And if he comes back in June, and let's say you cut out 9 starts or so from the expected 30, then it'll be 21 starts. And let's say it's like 20 at about 6 or so is still 120 or so. Okay, so just say 120 innings is where you should expect if it's June 1st or something like that. It might be like 100, 110, but it's of elite quality, right? You are like, I don't see a world where we're just hating that we have Spencer Strider on our team. I really don't. And especially when you're a head-to-head league, that's absurd. I mean, you'd actually rather to have Spencer Strider in the second half of the year than you would in the first in some cases, of course, for playoffs. But don't overlook, like, you have to win the rounds in April and May to be there in September. I've certainly made this mistake of investing too much in the future in the past, and I've learned my lesson. And that does make me more hesitant. But I get the argument that with all this injury talk, like, Spencer Strider should be more highly valued as someone coming back with a healthy elbow. This is something I talked to with a couple other guys that I really respect as well, including yourself. Like, I think we should be treating guys coming back from Tommy John with the Tommy John honeymoon a little bit higher than those who have injury concerns but have not gotten injured with their elbow yet.
Right.
Because that should be a healthier elbow than the other one, right?
Should be.
So Strider at 43, I thought it was a good point of like, okay, I always say value now is worth more than value later, about 2 times and not 2.5. But it is Strider, and Strider is just so good that I think I can figure it out. I'll essentially have an extra roster spot in the beginning, which is when it's more valuable for figuring out who those good guys are in the first week or so. So I draft Strider, put him in the IL. Now I have 2 spots instead of 1 necessarily, right? That I normally leave like 1 open. So I'm okay with it. Like, it's Strider plus. Always remember that, especially for him. 2 months of something else and then Strider. It's not just 100 innings or so from that roster spot. That's incorrect. So yeah, I'm going after it around here because like the other ones are like, no, Logan Webb. Okay, fine. You're going to get me all those wins and stuff. Roto, you might want to lower it just a touch, but still remember, it's Strider plus something else is what you're getting with this pick.